here at Longship Systems, and I am the owner, and my other title here is the adult. So I am the adult in this crew, and you will quickly see why. And we have Chase Frost, who is our gatekeeper, and he is our business development like genius. He's just a guru there. And we also have Michael Howell, who is on the call with us. Michael, you want to give a wave? And Michael is our story brand guide and also a builder within this. And if you're looking to wonder what it is we do, we help people automate their client journey. It's that simple. And that can look a lot of different ways. But I want to kind of welcome you to my world, or at least my world as it began in post spring break of 2020. We got word on Sunday night that we would not be going back to school and that we had 2 weeks to flatten the curve and that we would be doing home-based school for 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks. I can handle 2 weeks with these three. It's okay. I got this. I'm good. I'm an intentional mother. I spend, an hour and a half working with them on homework in the evening. We have a morning routine. We read scriptures. We are set. I rock. I can handle 2 weeks. 2 weeks came and went. And guess what? It was not 2 weeks. That was a big fat lie. And I think we all know that. It was the rest of the year. And I start to panic because I didn't know, they're adorable, but now I have this world wherein they need to be taught and educated. And while I have a lot of education and a lot of background, it isn't, and nor has it ever been in teaching children. And as I said before, I swear like a sailor. I try really hard not to do that around my kids, but that's also because I had a good chunk of time when they were at school and I could swear all I wanted. I didn't have that anymore, and I've got nothing. And so I start to panic big time because I have a company to run as well. As we said, I am the adult. And so for the half of the day that I'm not here at the office, because I split part day with my sister-in-law, and she took kids half the day and I took kids half the day, because I knew I had these guys counting on me as well. And it was a moment wherein chaos was all I could see. Most of our clients came in-house to work with us. That obviously stopped really quickly. We had a decent chunk of retainer business. Well, a lot of businesses at that point weren't sure whether or not they were staying in business. This is pre-PPP really coming out. And so again, there's chaos. And so as I thought about it, I thought, all right, what's the solution to chaos? And it's order. It is setting up rules so that you can accomplish the goals that you need to accomplish. Now, obviously, we set up rules and a schedule and an intention at home with the kids. We already had that at the business, but it did change with the new restrictions. And so as I go through these rules that I've kind of come up with, I want you to, instead of, because our minds will always want to go to a pass fail. We want to say, oh, okay, great, check mark, got that done. Or we say, no, I don't ever do that. So I need to start doing it. Instead of going pass fail, because that's not going to, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And to bring it back home to, again, this is, I'm a mom first. Like this is what I got. Um, how many of you are parents? First of all, let's just find out how many are parents. All right. I like it. Okay. How many of you have asked your children to make their bed before? Yeah. Yeah. Do they do as good a job as you do? No. No, they probably don't. Um, but did they make the bed? Kind of. Well, sort of. I asked my 6-year-old to make his bed. He made it look like a big nest. And he came in to show me, like, mom, you must come and see this beautiful bed that I've made. I did it. I did. He took 25 minutes to do this, by the way. It was adorable and I loved it. But it looked like a giant bird's nest. And that isn't an exaggeration. He quite literally had built this circle in his bed wherein he would have to climb. He's on the bottom bunk too, like climb into it, and then he could nest in, and like literally you could only see the very top of his ginger red head. And so I was like, good job. Yes, you did make it. Like he made it into something, and he made it into something he was super proud of. When he looks back on that as an adult, he may not be as proud of that, but it's because there's a different context and setting. So what I want you to do is I want you to grade yourself, and I want you to be kind and understanding with yourself about that. And then what we want to do is at the end, I want to give you and provide you some tools, or I want you to take each of these rules and see, okay, so here's where I'm at. How can I take it to the next level? So we want to talk today about how to level up. So that's what we're going to do. So let's start with rule 1. Don't talk to strangers. Okay. You need to know and understand the real problem that your brand solves, and that or that your product solves. So it doesn't matter what that is. Your client has a problem. They always do. Every superhero has a problem. This is what makes for, valuable valuable character development in any movie or story, is they have a problem and it needs to get solved. So you need to be very clear with what it is your brand solves. And I want you to first go through, and I want you to start writing down, maybe pull up a notes sheet or just a straight Google sheet, but I want you to write down rule number 1, which is don't talk to strangers, and I want you to give yourself a grade. And here is a way that you can do that. So we have the 6-second challenge, and you might be wondering, what in the world is the 6-second challenge? And this is any piece of content that you produce or that you put out to the world. I don't care if it is Facebook content. I do not care if it's Instagram, Pinterest. I don't care if it's your web page. It does not matter what that content piece is. Emails, I should know within 6 seconds the answer to these 3 questions. What does your company do? What does your product do? What do you do? 2, how will it change my life? How can I buy it? Okay. So as we said, we have Shane on here. And Shane, sorry in advance that I'm going to do this to you, because I pulled up Madra's website. And if you all want, you can pull up Madra's website as well. But give me just a second. I'm going to escape out of that so that you all can see. Well, I also want that to go down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I'm going to call on somebody at random. Well, I'll call on Michael, who is from my team, and he is our story brand guide. And this is the 6-second challenge came from him 100%. So I'm gonna let him tell us. If you can unmute Michael and tell us, what does Madra do? How will it change your life, and how can you buy?
I'm going to be a really bad example. I only got 2 because my screen was really small. I couldn't read the third one without blowing it up. So it's a small window in the top right for me right now. But request a demo is the call to action. That's how you engage, and they do educational resources.
Okay, good job. Okay, so I'm gonna have you mute back up here, and then let's do this. Okay, so as we went through to take a look at this, yes, it was nice and quick. We can see they've captured here. My suggestion, probably if I were designing this website or I were working on it, story branding it, I would definitely shorten all of this up. I also would probably move it into the center and find an image that behind that maybe would allow for that. Only because I like things to be centered and front of mind. The other thing that did seem somewhat requested demo is there, but as we scroll through the page, that requested demo does appear a couple more times. I would tell you, instead of having these buttons of necessarily learn more, I would pick one call to action, whether it is request a demo. Maybe that should be your call to action after they've clicked learn more, or they can go on here. But having 2 calls to action that are equally sized and positioned throughout the website can get confusing. The other thing on here is login or register. I would be super interested to see what the login portal, though I do not have a login access to it, so I did not do that. This is also the requested demo page. Ready for a demonstration. I would also strongly encourage from a automation standpoint, telling them that we'll contact you within 48 hours to schedule. Just you should be able to, with some pretty easy automation, link your calendar. So as soon as they fill this out, I would tell them to schedule. I would have your calendar link be there, not within 48 hours. It's kind of like it's an out of sight, out of mind thing.
Sarah and Michael, Taylor, this is Taylor. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Answer those 3 questions in your 6-second rule. How many words can someone use to do that? Like, what's your estimate on how many words people can use on their splash page or on their home page or whatever to get to that 6-second threshold?
Michael, do you want to? That's an excellent question. I personally think it does somewhat depend, though I would generally tell people it needs to be a one-liner. It needs to be quick, snappy. But Michael, what do you think? Oh, you're still muted.
Yeah, got it. My rule of thumb is the fewer the better. I would say there's probably no definitive, it's going to go from industry to industry. That's the true answer is going to be dependent on industry to industry versus the rule of thumb being just as few words as possible. The example that I always use is if you go to a website and you say something like, we sell elegant four-wheeled vehicles that travel you down the road in style. That is too complex. It's too complicated when really you should just be saying, we sell cars. And you can never be too simple. A lot of business owners think that they're trying to be cute or clever with the way that they are communicating it, and they might be, but really you're just confusing people. It's so easy in this day and age to just hit the back button, and don't fool yourself or don't try and trick yourself into thinking that your cleverness is selling anybody, because it's not. Hopefully that helps. Taylor's eating, but I saw a nod.
Yeah, totally. Thanks.
All right. So again, my presentation was up here. So let's move on to rule 2 here. Unless Shane, did you have a question or anything about these suggestions for Madra?
No, looks good so far, and I agree.
Okay.
I'm following.
All right. You need to finish what is on your plate. Okay. You need to pick one single objective, and we already talked about this earlier. Pick one single objective when it comes to emails, when it comes to campaigns, when it comes to anything. I don't care if your objective for the day is to finish your accounting, like your month-end accounting, then that's your objective. Like, I don't care what your objective is, but pick one, and you don't get to do anything else until you finish that one. Do not set out to write 5 emails, write 1 email. For heaven's sakes, just finish one thing and then move on to the next thing. And this is my mom pro tip. If you're ready for it. I am a big believer in this when it comes to starting any kind of automation. When it comes to looking at anything, you need to come up with a campaign to-do list. And I think this would apply for advertising campaigns. I think this applies for everything. But when it comes to anything, you need to make your to-do list. And we have a specific way in which to prioritize and make your to-do list. And I'm going to quickly, actually, Taylor, so I don't have to alternate back and forth here.
Yep.
Can I have you just throw into the chat this phone number? I want everyone to text message 623-632-1013. I want you to text message mom rules, MOMRULES.
One word.
Nope, you can make it 2. Preferably 2. But go ahead and text message mom rules to that phone number, and you are going to get, it's going to be a series of text messages so that you can get an email with what I'm about to show you. Okay, so first of all, you need to make a map of your client journey. That is what you are going to get emailed to you, is a map that you can fill in for your business of your client journey. 2, you need to choose a single goal. You need to choose one campaign to work on. You need to pick one call to action. But you only get to pick one. And you need to define the process, where the process starts and where it stops. And this will make more sense. That third key makes more sense when you see how we're going to map out and mind map everything. So when you look at your business, you're going to have these different columns. You could technically have other ones, but for the sake of argument, this is going to be universal across the board. I don't care what industry you are in. I don't care what it is you sell. I don't care what it is you do. You have these different pillars and columns. You have advertising, you have marketing, and there is a difference. And that difference is advertising is the outfit you wear in order to get people to come over and talk to you. Marketing is the handshake and the introduction. I am Sarah. And that's how you need to think of it. Advertising is how people see you. Marketing is how they get to know you. And there is a distinctive difference between the two. And people often want to, with digital marketing, they want to say, well, just digital marketing, and they include advertising, and it is not the same thing. And so we do want to delineate that within our business. What is our advertising efforts? What are our marketing efforts? What are our sales processes? And fulfillment is, what can somebody buy from you? And we talked about this earlier with monetization, and this is going to be super critical. What can people buy? So it's easiest to think of it in this realm. If you were a restaurant and somebody were looking at your menu, what's on the menu? What do you currently have to sell, for sale? And we would list those out there. And then you have internal. So that is our hiring processes, our just your various campaigns that you would need for internal processes only. Just as an example, we have a welcome package process. It's internal, but whenever we have a new client, we have an entire onboarding process that we have them go through, but then we have our own onboarding process for that client that we have to check mark boxes to say, yep, that's been done, that's been done, that's been done, that's been done. And that's so that we make sure everything is done for the client.
Sarah, what are the other, oh, this is awesome. What are the other pieces in these columns, or what are the other metrics that people could be tracking in their businesses? Like, what is the advertising metric that people can start building their data capture in?
So, okay, so it's what you're going to want to do is you want to list your ways in which you are currently advertising, and your advertising methods. You have social. You have, are you using LinkedIn? Are you using, really any of those? We have pay-per-click. So are you using Google traffic? And again, I do think with some of that, like Brandon, who is going to speak next, is going to have, we do a lot of things. We don't do ads for anybody, and not even ourselves. We pay other people to do those. But you do need to be made aware. Now, places where we don't outsource our advertising are obviously on referrals. We have referral campaigns that run. And then we also have our various promotions, and then we have our events that we go to. And so those are different ways that we advertise, but again, they're going to be a little bit different based on every company and what it is you're doing. And again, if you texted that phone number and you've gotten your email, there's going to be a place for you to, on the doc that you get, where you can actually fill in those. And if you want, you can even give yourself a grade with where you think you're at on that. Now, all of our ads should push to a way to lead capture, because as we all know, an ad does not lead capture. And so it's looking at your different ways that people can opt in with you. I'm going to use, so for Madra, as the example there, other than request a demo, I didn't see any other opt-ins that were available there. Shane, do you want to speak to that as far as like, are there additional opt-ins that people have access to?
Taylor, you want to help out on that one? So I'm somewhat new to Module, so I don't understand all of the features of the site quite yet. I'm going to pull it up right now, though.
And Sarah, what, like, are you talking about what products they can opt into, or what marketing campaigns they can opt into?
Well, what marketing, do we have any marketing campaigns that they can opt into?
So not currently, but previously they were running on Salesforce basically a demo, get to a demo campaign where they were doing campaigns. They would choose 200 chemistry professors, send them emails, and then send the ones that didn't respond more emails. So that was
They've had some email campaigns that drip campaigns that try to force people into, or not force people, get them to do a demo. But that's the extent of the marketing efforts that I know of as well, right? Is that right, Taylor?
correct.
Okay, so one of the ways that I'm going to use Longship as an example here in this instance. Okay, so a lead capture would be, I host a weekly webinar. It is free to come, and that is a call to action that I give, and that is a singular focus for my emails that I do to drive to it, as well as my social media posts and any ads that I do. I'm driving to that weekly webinar. We have an additional opt-in campaign, which is 3 critical campaigns. And in fact, if you go to longshipsystems.com/3, the number 3, critical campaigns, you can see that landing page and you can opt in for the 3 critical campaigns. We send you an ebook. It has all of those. So again, those are our marketing efforts. I talked about as well 3 campaigns that everybody has to have. These are the 3 critical campaigns. So again, if you opt in for this, you're going to see exactly how to implement these within your business. But we have the indoctrination campaign. Indoctrination should not sell anything, but it should promote your brand and ways for people to connect with you outside of email marketing. Rule number 1 of email marketing: have them connect with you in other ways other than email marketing.
So
Give
Sarah,
them.
one question on that. I feel like lots of people are worried about giving their cell phone numbers out or texting something because they'll just get a barrage of texts. How do you solve for that? I mean, I'm hesitant to give you my cell phone, even though I know you.
One of the ways, first of all, that you can solve for that is simply with like disclaimers. Hey, we are not going to spam market you. The other thing that I would tell you when it comes to cell phone numbers, it depends on the demographic as to whether or not they're leery to give you their cell phone number. There is an age bracket in mid 30s, I would say, to like mid 50s, where they're reluctant to give you their cell phone number. Whereas, I mean, a younger generation does not care. They do not care. They will text message you all day long. They do not care. And they'd rather associate with you via text. So I will tell you, it is only a barrier if you let it be a barrier. Also, there is certain times where you don't necessarily need to make everything required. So if somebody's filling out a form, if all you're asking for is name and email address, I mean, nobody's really going to think twice about that. If you do have a longer form, you may just, unless that information is super critical for you to have right away for an opt-in campaign, I would not make it required and or not include it. I would generally go with keeping it short, sweet, and to the point when it comes to an opt-in campaign. And an indoctrination campaign, again, is simply giving them other ways to connect with you. So it's linking them to your Facebook page, it's linking them to your LinkedIn page, it's linking them to maybe you have a private Facebook group, maybe you have a membership site, which several of you who pitched should have membership sites for sure. Then we have the downsell, cross-sell, downsell, which is, hey, they don't buy from your initial opt-in. So for us, ours is 3 critical campaigns. The goal of 3 critical campaigns is to get you to schedule a consultation with us. If you do not schedule a consultation, great. Your cross-sell, downsell is a copywriting consultation, essentially, where we talk about copywriting. And then our additional, cross-sell is story brand. And it doesn't really matter which one you hit them with first. It's just giving them other ways and a journey to go through in order to interact with your brand. As time goes on, you also have a long-term nurture campaign. So within your long-term nurture campaign, there's a number of different strategies that you can implement. I tell almost everybody that your long-term nurture, each part or sequence of your long-term nurture should include 3 to 4 at most emails. And I would tell you the first 2 should tell, and the last 2, or 1 or 2, depending on how many you're choosing to do, should sell. Meaning they are going to be more of that drip content that is meant to give them information, but a lot of complaints that we hear from businesses about doing this is they say, well, I'm just giving them everything. They're going to know exactly how to do my process. So what? Feel free, by all means, if you would like to consume all the content that Longship Systems has for you, and you would like to go through and do all of it on your own, by all means, feel free. It isn't going to hurt anything that I do, because my target customer does not want to build any of this crap themselves. They understand how challenging it's going to be and how time consuming it's going to be. If you are in a position where you are starting out and you do not have the funds to invest in technology, don't hire us. Like, we will, if you are looking to any agency in digital marketing to be your silver bullet to save that business, consume their free information. Don't, because nothing's going to be a silver bullet. Nothing's going to be that magic thing. And then within here as well, you want to also look at your sales funnel and that process. So for us, all businesses, huge generalization here, huge. Do I need to talk to you to buy your product? If the answer is yes, then you are a service-based business. You are a consult to close. If you have a salesperson, then you are a consult to close business. If you can just buy your product online without talking to anybody, then you likely do not have really a sales process here or a sales funnel. You would then be looking at more of a shopping cart function. Okay, so when it comes to business, that's what you, when it comes to your sales funnel and looking at that, you have 2 sales funnels. You have shopping cart or you have consult to close. It's a huge generalization, but everybody falls into it. So for us, we are a consult to close business. There's nothing that you are going to buy from us where you first do not talk to us. This includes our memberships. This includes everything. It is you talk to us because we need to figure out whether or not we are a right fit for your business. Because again, we don't want to be somebody's silver bullet either. we are a silver bullet for a lot of businesses, but again, it isn't the magic. Yeah, you need to have found magic first. Then we have fulfillment. We have service A, service B, service C. So for us, there's 3 products you can, well, technically 4 products you can buy from us. The first one is a 2-day where we make over your business. You have a 1-day where we make over your business in 1 day, and half day. And we can't determine whether or not your business needs a 1-day, 2-day, or a half day without first talking to you. And then we have a membership of ongoing monthly clients who do need continual automation support and back-end support. And so we have a tiered system for that as well. And then another part that you have within your journey is your hiring and your onboarding. Those are processes that can be automated and made simple. Okay. Taylor, did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Awesome.
And just FYI, we've got about 18 minutes to go through the other rules.
Okay. Going fast. We're speeding up now, people. Okay, rule number 3 is, I can see what you're doing. I have eyes in the back of my head. And I want you to understand and call out the very real struggles that your clients are facing throughout their journey as they go through it. So I feel like Madra did an excellent job of this. When we went through and I did an audit of the website, actually they break down and seem to understand exactly the problem that they're solving. They understand it from actually 2 perspectives that I think is really unique that they would understand it from the student perspective of being able to learn with the Madra product, but then also to the teacher. That is speaking to your, for lack of a better term, your avatar, your client. It is speaking to them on a number of different levels. It is really, really empowering the business. It's empowering the customer to be who, in Madra's case, is chemistry professors or teachers. So it's allowing the chemistry teacher to step in and be the superhero of that story. So this is my mom pro tip. When it comes to any kind of client interaction, when it comes to your website, it does not matter what you are talking about. I want you to send out the bat signal. Now, real quick question. How many of you are familiar with Batman? Okay, good, good. Does Batman ever light the bat signal? No, Batman does not light the bat signal. Commissioner Gordon lights the bat signal. In your business, you are Commissioner Gordon. You never get to be Batman. Stop being Batman. Stop trying to be Batman, because you don't get to be him. That's your client. You are Commissioner Gordon, and you need to find a way to communicate with your customer so that and I'm going to stop calling them the customer. I want you to find a way to interact with your superhero so that they are called out, so that they come to save the day.
Can you give an example of how that happens?
So what I had liked on Madra's site, and I'm going to attempt to jump out of here and do this relatively quickly.
Yeah, because what you're saying is the chemistry professor is the superhero. That's hard for me to understand. I've taken chemistry in the past. So how does that work?
So again, because that's your, you need to speak to them so that it calls them forward to do this. So in here we had understanding, not assuming. Each person's curriculum or circumstances are different. We try to understand each individual situation and adapt to help you in the right way. They are not positioning themselves as Batman. They're positioning themselves as a guide. You have a problem, your circumstances are going to be different. Every teacher has different circumstances. You teach in a different way. That chemistry teacher is thinking, I teach chemistry in a special way. I can't just use somebody else's software, their system. This would be crazy. Well, it's working your way around the ego of the superhero so that you can come in as a guide. I'll pull up.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Oh, no, that's my Monday board. That's not what anybody wants to see. Boring. So if you pull up like our website, which is obviously going to be take a second because I'm sharing screen and I'm logged in and under my WordPress site because this is what I do all the time.
1, 2, 3, 4. Just kidding.
I know. So ours is stop feeling mired in marketing technology and unleash the confidence you need to grow the brand you deserve. I really like our tagline, so I do generally use it as a good example because, again, our target demographic is frustrated with the marketing software and technology that's available out there. They know they can do all of these cool things when it comes to automation, but the technology is challenging, to say the least. And what we're doing is we're speaking to that frustration and calling them forward to solve that problem. We want you to schedule a mapping call so that you can grow the brand you deserve. It's also speaking to their deserve level. And speaking to people's deserve level is never underestimate that. What they think they can and should deserve, whether or not you agree with them, which I hope you would agree with them because they are your target client. So rule 4, this is my favorite one. Would you like to be my very special helper? And this is ask your clients for their help. This is one thing when Haley was talking, she is doing super well. She talked about how in her, in all of their marketing, they ask them like, hey, we're doing a brand cover. We're doing a this, hey, survey, vote. People love to feel like they are helping you out with something, that they are making an impact in there, that the gamifying of that, the working through that, never, ever, ever underestimate the power of asking them for help or giving them a job to do. I don't care how stupid you think that job is. People like to feel important and like their job and what they're doing is making a difference. Even if it's just to you, like I would just tell you, never underestimate that. And then we have my mom pro tip here. Only give them one job at a time. Don't give them 20 steps. When I give my 6-year-old a job, like make the bed, I'm not giving him any other steps. You give them one job. If it is, as an example, those of you who opted in via text, I gave you one job. I first said, hey, let me have your email. Oh, I don't like talking to somebody I don't know. What's your name? It's that simple. You give them one job at a time. I did not ask you to respond with 5 different things. Not to mention that also gets to be a nightmare to automate. One thing, pick one thing. The other thing, always say thank you. When they do what you want them to do, then you encourage the crap out of them. Again, and not in a belittling way, but like, great job. Like, we're really excited about this thing. When people schedule a consultation with us, they get an email, they get on their thank you page a video so that they're introduced to us. When somebody signs on to be a client, we have like a 5-video series with a survey and other stuff that they get to go through so that they have a better understanding and a higher level concept of what it is they're going to be doing. This also enables us to be able to have better conversations when people get on the phone with us. And so that's something else that you need to be understanding of, is saying thank you is your gateway in to give them more information so that they are prepared when you talk to them, or they're prepared to buy. Positive encouragement as well. Always keep everything positive. You don't want to work from the negative, except this is one thing. You can do this, and this is a solid strategy. You need to understand what it looks like for your customer, what success in working with your brand looks like, and what failure looks like. And it is okay to tell them in very real terms what failure looks like. So in Madra's example, we could easily say with positive or like negative, that would be one thing where I would say you could really put that right there on your first landing page, Shane, that is, what does success look like? But then what does failure look like? You want them to be very clear. It's confusion. It's, your students feel lost. They feel unconnected to your curriculum, whereas Madra would give them connection to their students in a better way so that their students can understand the curriculum better. So it's understanding and calling out what success and what failure looks like. If I were a coach at a gym, like a dietitian, like literally calling out exactly, well, success looks like being able to live longer, to have a balanced diet so that you feel better. What does failure look like? It could mean disease, early death, and it is getting that serious with people. Like, you need to be very clear as to what failure looks like. If they choose not to do business with you, what does it look like? For Longship Systems, it means confusion. It means being stuck in 20 different softwares and bouncing around from software to software thinking that you're solving this problem.
Hey, Sarah, can I ask a question?
Of course.
What kind of jobs do you give your clients to do? I like how you told us to text you, which I did. And then I get to download an item. What are some other jobs that you assign to your clients, or you're investigating your prospects?
So one of my the biggest one is, like, if you opt in for the ebook, it's the positive encouragement is, hey, download the ebook now. When you download the ebook, you're going to get what appears to be a very personal email from us that says, thank you so much. I know you're going to find that really valuable. It even says that it's sent from my iPhone. It is not sent from my iPhone. I like you all a lot, but it's not sent from my iPhone. It's not like, but it's keeping it
So that's
simple.
that's the encouragement part, which I like. I'm just talking about the jobs. Like, what kind of jobs?
It's
Download
like
an
the
ebook, text
download
me. What else?
me. There's a number of them that you could pick. It just depends on what your opt-ins are for that. For Madra is some special jobs. I mean, the big special job that you ultimately want them to do is to schedule a demo. So it would be important to think of the steps that they may need to go through in order to schedule a demo.
I'm also just thinking, Shane, with the other 2 critical campaigns, having them do the job of making a referral to other
Mhm.
chemistry professors.
Mm-hmm.
Good one. Sarah, we've got 4 minutes to go through the last rule.
All right. Last one, rule 5 is I can't hear you when you mumble. My children do mumble to me. They sound crystal clear to other people, but to me, like when they start talking to me, it sounds like Charlie Brown. You need to clearly get to the point with any interaction with your client base. So it's using things like your one-liner. It's combining everything, all the other rules, so that you can clearly, concisely, quickly get to the point of what you want them to do. They should know within the first 6 seconds of seeing your email what that email is about and why they will want to click. So if you notice in any of ours, like that call to action, that thing that I've asked them to do, it's generally going to be in your first half of, up at the top. It's going to be top of mind. Here's the thing I want you to do. Here's what I need. And so it's giving them that call to action. Also, if you are writing, if you're writing an email, the other thing that you want to keep in mind is the rule of 3. Don't ever put more than 3 lines in a paragraph. If anything you are writing exceeds 3 lines, people disengage, they disconnect, boom, they're not going to read it. They're not going to go any further. I don't care if you have a button right underneath your 7 lines of paragraph that says, this is totally free and you should totally do it. Rah, rah, rah. They've already disconnected. They see 7 lines and it's like, it's like my number one thing that I want to constantly post when somebody writes me a big long Facebook post and I can see that it's not broken up and it's this giant block of text. I just want to comment back. I would be totally interested because I'm confident you have valuable things to say, but I lost interest when I saw that there were, 75 lines for me to read of unbroken text. Whereas when people see just 3 lines, they're going to keep scrolling. They're going to keep scrolling because it's easy, it's quick, it's digestible. It's also conversation, and that's how they see it. So to kind of wrap this all up, like this is all about how to get intentional with your business, how to move these rules, so that they can work for you on a number of different levels. And big thing to remember is always, always, always keep your customer top of mind. They need to be the top. They're the superhero, they're everything. And so you do need to keep them top of mind. I want you to engage with your business and with your clients in a new way. So think outside of the box, think outside of how you have been communicating with them, and look at other ways that you can communicate with them. And whether that's different platforms, whether it's just phrasing things in a different way, or maybe you are guilty of some of the don't do's of any of these rules. So pick one email and take out all the calls to action that you have on there and pick one and make that your one singular focus. But again, it's just learning to engage with your client base and your business as a whole in a different way. And the last one is be open to new ideas, be vulnerable. Definitely always be vulnerable with your client base. Vulnerability is that connection tool. It's communicating understanding of where they are at. But again, don't ever put this as I have all the answers to solve your problem. Remember, you're Yoda, you're not Luke Skywalker, you're Commissioner Gordon, you aren't Batman. And so it's being able to call out the real struggle without solving their problem for them, letting them solve.
Awesome.
So yeah, and then I put my stuff into the chats. If you go to Sarah 360, you can, and then I gave you all a whole bunch of ways that you could talk to me, and you're going to get a whole bunch of emails about talking to me. So
I love it.
Sarah, I might have something for Shane. Shane, it sounded like you were looking for a little bit of inspirational suggestions or thoughts in what we're doing and how you can apply some of that stuff.
Sure.
So I can't speak to the building side of, we're primarily workers or builders in Infusionsoft, and I can't speak largely to that side of it. I mean, I could, but I can speak a little bit more towards the StoryBrand stuff. So if you were to schedule a StoryBrand audit or a call with me, you would instantly get a 23 question questionnaire. You have to fill that out before you get on the call with me.
Okay.
And that's for two reasons. One, I want to know your thoughts without somebody influencing. Like I want a clean slate of what you're thinking about as far as your brand and your messaging and where you think you're at. And then also I want to, just like a workout, I want you to mentally warm up to the idea of the conversation that's ahead. That way we can hit the ground running. And what I do is I tee that up as hey, we're going to make the most of this time. So fill this questionnaire out. Otherwise, you're not going to get your money's worth, and I'm going to suck at my job, and you're not going to get what you want out of it. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Sarah. I'm gonna do a shameless plug before we jump into our next session. I would suggest everybody go check out what Sarah's talking about on Longship. So I've had experience working with Sarah's husband, Clint, on a build for automation. It was awesome. And literally the 3 critical campaigns that they are talking about, they're easy to implement with them. And I would highly suggest you go check out what they're doing at Longship or sign up for a chat with Sarah or Chase via their website. So Sarah, Michael, thanks for being here.
is if you schedule a call, you are getting both Chase and myself on the call. It's so that we can take a look at your business from a few different angles and from different perspectives. Chase is amazing at customer acquisition and, like I said, business development as a whole. And so that is primarily his function on the call. And I come at it from a membership site, StoryBrand, and being able to monetize those things. And we didn't even really talk about membership sites, but that's super critical. I mean, just think about Costco makes 70% of their income off of that stupid membership you pay them annually.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Michael.